Hey there, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more health tips, advice, and all things wellness. We're diving into a crucial topic today that could really make a difference in your health journey, especially if you're in your golden years or have elderly loved ones. This one is a biggie, folks. We're talking about the 10 vegetables that doctors say elderly people should avoid due to their cancer risks. Yes, you heard that right. Some of the veggies we eat regularly could actually be putting us at risk as we get older. It's time to be more mindful of what's going on our plates. Now, we all know that veggies are generally seen as the cornerstone of a healthy diet, packed with nutrients and antioxidants. But there's a catch. Certain types of vegetables, especially when they're prepared or consumed in specific ways, can have adverse effects on the body, particularly as we age. Let's break it down and look at the key reasons why some of these veggies can be risky for seniors. You may be surprised by what's on the list. First up, we have potatoes, but not just any potatoes. We're talking about green potatoes. When potatoes are exposed to light, they can develop a chemical called solanine, which is toxic and can increase the risk of cancer. Solanine has been linked to a variety of digestive problems, particularly stomach and intestinal issues, which can be especially harmful to vulnerable groups, such as the elderly. The elderly often face weaker immune systems and more sensitive digestive systems, making them more susceptible to the effects of this toxin. Green potatoes usually develop this solanine when they are stored improperly, typically in places where they are exposed to light or warmth for extended periods. This process is more common in potatoes that have been left out in sunlight or stored in bright areas, such as windowsills. As solanine accumulates, the potato may turn green, and you may also notice a bitter taste when consuming it. While it may not always be immediately dangerous in small amounts, consuming larger quantities or regularly eating green potatoes could lead to more severe symptoms, such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and even more serious neurological effects in extreme cases. If you do happen to find green potatoes in your pantry or fridge, it's important to remove the green areas and any sprouts before cooking or eating them. In fact, some experts recommend simply discarding potatoes that have turned green altogether, as the solanine levels may still pose a risk, even after peeling. The best practice is to store potatoes in a cool, dark place to prevent exposure to light, ensuring they remain safe and nutritious for consumption. For those looking to maintain a healthy diet, it's important to be aware of which vegetables may pose hidden risks. While potatoes are an excellent source of vitamins and minerals, green potatoes are a reminder that proper storage and awareness of food safety can go a long way in ensuring that what you eat is nourishing and free from harmful toxins. This advice is particularly crucial for vulnerable populations such as the elderly, young children, and anyone with a compromised immune system who may be more affected by foodborne toxins. Number 2, tomatoes. Now, I know what you're thinking, but tomatoes are healthy, and they are in moderation. The problem arises when elderly people consume too many tomatoes, especially if they're not fully ripe. Tomatoes belong to the nightshade family, which includes other vegetables like peppers, eggplants, and potatoes. Nightshades contain natural chemicals called alkaloids, which can have both positive and negative effects on the body. In moderation, these vegetables are generally safe and nutritious, but excessive consumption can lead to some issues, particularly for older adults. For one, the alkaloids found in tomatoes, such as solanine and tomatine, can interfere with calcium absorption in the body. This is a concern for the elderly, who may already be at a higher risk of calcium deficiencies and conditions like osteoporosis. When calcium isn't properly absorbed, it can weaken bones and make them more prone to fractures. Furthermore, some studies suggest that an overconsumption of nightshades could promote the growth of certain cancer cells, although more research is needed to fully understand the link between nightshade consumption and cancer development. While tomatoes are a great source of antioxidants, vitamins, and fiber, eating them in excessive amounts, especially if they're not fully ripe, may contribute to inflammation in sensitive individuals, exacerbating conditions like arthritis or digestive problems. It's also important to note that unripe tomatoes, which contain higher levels of tomatine, can be more difficult for some people to digest, potentially causing stomach discomfort or irritation. While this is not a widespread issue, the elderly, who often have more delicate digestive systems, may be more susceptible to these effects. The key takeaway is moderation. Tomatoes are an excellent addition to a balanced diet, providing valuable nutrients like vitamin C, potassium, and lycopene. However, it's best to consume them in reasonable quantities and opt for fully ripe tomatoes to minimize the potential risks associated with unripe ones. By doing so, you can still enjoy their health benefits without overloading on compounds that could cause harm over time, particularly for the elderly. Number 3. Speaking of nightshades, let's talk about eggplants. Eggplants, like tomatoes, are part of the nightshade family. They contain solanine, the same chemical found in green potatoes, which can cause gastrointestinal problems and increase the risk of inflammation, especially in older adults. Solanine, when consumed in excess, can lead to symptoms like nausea, bloating, and stomach cramps. For older individuals who may already have sensitive digestive systems, these effects can be more pronounced. But the concern doesn't end with just gastrointestinal discomfort. Solanine has also been shown to promote chronic inflammation in the body, which is a significant issue for older adults. Chronic inflammation has been linked to a variety of health problems, including arthritis, heart disease, and, perhaps most worryingly, certain types of cancer. This makes it especially important to limit the intake of eggplants, especially if there are pre-existing conditions that could be exacerbated by inflammation, such as autoimmune disorders or cardiovascular issues. While eggplants are a good source of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, they're also relatively high in fiber, which can sometimes be hard for the elderly to digest. This, combined with the inflammatory effects of solanine, can lead to digestive discomfort, bloating, and even exacerbated symptoms of conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. That said, eggplants can still be enjoyed in moderation by most people. For elderly individuals who want to include eggplant in their diet, it's best to cook it thoroughly and avoid consuming it in large quantities. Cooking eggplant can help break down some of the solanine, potentially reducing its negative effects. Additionally, it's wise to be mindful of any pre-existing inflammatory conditions and adjust the diet accordingly. In conclusion, while eggplants can offer some nutritional benefits, they should be eaten with caution, particularly by older adults. Limiting their intake and being aware of any digestive or inflammatory issues can help avoid potential risks, ensuring that they remain a safe and enjoyable part of the diet without contributing to any long-term health problems. Number 4. Did you know that spinach can be a problem too? While spinach is packed with nutrients like iron, vitamins, and fiber, it also contains high levels of oxalates. Oxalates are natural compounds found in many plants, and in spinach they can bind with calcium to form calcium oxalate crystals. When consumed in excess, these crystals can contribute to the formation of kidney stones, which can be extremely painful and potentially harmful, especially for elderly individuals who may already have compromised kidney function. For elderly people who are often more susceptible to kidney problems, it's particularly important to be cautious about how much spinach they eat. Kidney stones are more common in older adults, and the added strain from consuming large amounts of high oxalate foods like spinach can increase the risk of developing them. Additionally, some studies suggest that long-term excessive consumption of oxalates could also increase the risk of bladder and kidney cancers, although this link is still being studied. One way to reduce the oxalate content in spinach is to cook it. Steaming spinach, for instance, can help reduce the oxalate levels significantly, making it safer for consumption. Raw spinach, on the other hand, retains higher levels of oxalates, which means it could potentially contribute more to kidney stone formation and other health issues when consumed in large quantities. It's also wise for elderly individuals to stick to smaller portions of spinach, balancing it with other nutrient-rich vegetables to ensure they get a variety of vitamins and minerals without overloading on oxalates. By keeping spinach consumption moderate and cooking it properly, older adults can still enjoy its health benefits while minimizing the potential risks associated with oxalates. In conclusion, spinach is a fantastic vegetable with many health benefits, but like many things, it should be eaten in moderation, especially by older adults. Being mindful of how it's prepared, steaming instead of eating it raw, and limiting portion sizes can help ensure that it remains a safe, nutritious part of the diet. Number 5. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts are super healthy, right? Well, not so fast. While these vegetables are packed with essential nutrients like vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants, they also contain compounds called goitrogens. Goitrogens are substances that can interfere with the thyroid gland's ability to take up iodine, which is crucial for producing thyroid hormones. In large amounts, these compounds can disrupt thyroid function, potentially leading to thyroid imbalances. Thyroid issues are a common concern in older adults, with conditions like hypothyroidism, an underactive thyroid, becoming more prevalent as people age. An imbalance in thyroid hormones can lead to a variety of health problems, such as fatigue, weight gain, and difficulty regulating body temperature. In some cases, an unhealthy thyroid can also increase the risk of certain cancers, particularly those of the thyroid gland itself, as well as other hormone-related cancers. This makes it especially important for elderly individuals, especially those with existing thyroid issues, to be cautious about consuming large quantities of cruciferous vegetables. That doesn't mean you have to cut out broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts completely. These vegetables are still very nutritious. But moderation is key. When eaten in reasonable amounts, the health benefits far outweigh the potential risks, particularly if thyroid function is well managed. Cooking these vegetables can help reduce the goitrogenic compounds, making them safer for consumption. Additionally, for those with thyroid problems, it's a good idea to vary the diet with a range of other vegetables that don't contain goitrogens, ensuring a balanced intake of nutrients without putting unnecessary stress on the thyroid. In conclusion, while cruciferous vegetables are undeniably healthy, elderly individuals, especially those with thyroid concerns, should be mindful of how much they eat. Limiting intake and opting for cooked versions can help minimize any negative effects on thyroid health, while still allowing for the nutritional benefits these vegetables provide. Number 6. Sweet potatoes are often considered a healthy alternative to regular potatoes, but in large quantities, they can still cause health problems. Sweet potatoes are packed with nutrients, particularly beta-carotene, which is a powerful antioxidant that our bodies convert into vitamin A. Vitamin A plays a crucial role in maintaining healthy vision, immune function, and skin health. However, consuming excessive amounts of beta-carotene, particularly from foods like sweet potatoes, can have some unintended consequences, especially in older adults. When consumed in very high amounts, beta-carotene can accumulate in the body and potentially increase the risk of lung cancer in certain populations, particularly for older adults with a history of smoking, or those who have been exposed to environmental toxins. Some studies have shown that individuals who consume large quantities of beta-carotene may have a higher risk of developing lung cancer, especially if they are smokers, although more research is needed to fully understand the mechanisms at play. The good news is that sweet potatoes are still incredibly nutritious and a great source of vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants. For most people, eating them in moderate amounts provides numerous health benefits without posing a significant risk. The key for seniors, especially those who may already have a history of lung problems or cancer risk, is to enjoy sweet potatoes in moderation. By keeping portion sizes in check, you can continue to reap the benefits of sweet potatoes without overloading on beta-carotene. For elderly individuals, it's also a good idea to pair sweet potatoes with other vegetables and foods to ensure a balanced intake of nutrients. This variety helps reduce the risk of overconsumption of any single nutrient, like beta-carotene, while still maintaining a healthy diet. In conclusion, while sweet potatoes are loaded with health benefits, seniors should eat them in moderation to avoid excessive beta-carotene intake, particularly if they have underlying health concerns. By balancing them with other foods, sweet potatoes can remain a safe and nutritious part of a well-rounded diet. Number 7. Bell peppers and hot peppers are both part of the capsicum family, and while they're full of vitamins and antioxidants, they can also cause digestive distress, especially in older adults. These peppers contain capsaicin, the compound responsible for their heat, which can irritate the stomach lining. For some people, especially those over 60, capsaicin can trigger acid reflux, heartburn, or exacerbate symptoms of gastritis or ulcers. The stomach lining becomes more sensitive with age, and consuming too many spicy foods can cause discomfort, leading to issues like indigestion or even exacerbating existing conditions like acid reflux. In addition to causing immediate digestive issues, there is some evidence to suggest that long-term, excessive consumption of spicy foods may contribute to more serious problems, such as an increased risk of developing ulcers, or in extreme cases, it could even affect the risk of certain cancers, particularly gastrointestinal cancers. That said, bell peppers, especially sweet ones, are much milder and contain a wealth of nutrients, including vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants, which offer significant health benefits. Hot peppers, on the other hand, should be eaten with more caution, especially for older adults who may already have digestive concerns or a weakened immune system. For elderly individuals, it's best to keep pepper consumption to a minimum. If you enjoy the flavor and heat, consider using peppers in moderation and try to avoid consuming them in large quantities. Cooking peppers can also help make them a little easier on the stomach, as the heat can sometimes become less intense after cooking. If you have a history of digestive issues like acid reflux, it's worth paying attention to how your body reacts to spicy foods and adjusting your intake accordingly. In conclusion, while bell peppers and hot peppers are nutritious, it's important for seniors to be mindful of how much they consume. Capsaicin can irritate the digestive system, especially in older adults, so it's best to enjoy them in moderation to avoid any discomfort or long-term health issues. Number 8. Let's talk about mushrooms. While many mushrooms are safe and nutritious to eat, the wild varieties can pose serious health risks, especially for older adults. While cultivated mushrooms like button, portobello, and shiitake are generally safe and provide valuable nutrients like fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins, wild mushrooms are a different story. Wild mushrooms can sometimes contain dangerous toxins, and unfortunately, these toxins are not always visible or easy to identify. Some wild mushrooms contain compounds that can cause severe liver damage, kidney failure, and even cancer when consumed. The most infamous among these are species like the Amanita phalloides, the deathcap mushroom, which contains toxins that can lead to organ failure and be fatal if ingested. Even experienced foragers can make mistakes, as certain wild mushrooms can look similar to edible varieties, but they contain harmful substances that are very difficult to detect. For elderly people, who are often more vulnerable to foodborne illnesses or toxins, due to a weakened immune system. Consuming wild mushrooms can be particularly dangerous. The elderly are also more likely to have underlying health issues, such as liver or kidney problems, which can be exacerbated by the toxic effects of certain wild mushrooms. To stay safe, it's best to always stick to store-bought mushrooms, which are cultivated and thoroughly tested for safety. These mushrooms have been grown in controlled environments, ensuring they are free from harmful toxins. It's also advisable to avoid eating mushrooms that have been harvested from the wild unless you are 100% certain of their safety, and even then, caution is essential. In conclusion, while mushrooms can be a delicious and nutritious addition to your diet, elderly individuals should be especially careful when it comes to wild mushrooms. Stick to the store-bought varieties to minimize the risk of poisoning or long-term health issues. The potential dangers of wild mushrooms far outweigh the benefits, so always err on the side of caution and enjoy them safely. Number 9. Asparagus is often considered a superfood, and for good reason. It's loaded with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, making it a nutritious addition to any diet. However, it's not without its risks, especially for elderly individuals. Asparagus contains high levels of purines, which are naturally occurring compounds found in many foods. When the body breaks down purines, it produces uric acid. In healthy individuals, uric acid is excreted through urine, but in some cases, particularly in older adults, it can build up in the bloodstream and form crystals, leading to gout. Gout is a painful condition characterized by sudden, severe pain, redness, and swelling in the joints, typically affecting the big toe. It can be exacerbated by foods that are high in purines, such as asparagus. For older individuals who may already be at risk for gout, limiting purine-rich foods can help reduce flare-ups and manage symptoms more effectively. Additionally, purines have been linked to the formation of kidney stones, which are another common concern for seniors. If the body is unable to process excess uric acid properly, it can lead to the development of kidney stones, causing pain and complications in the urinary tract. Moreover, some research has suggested that high levels of purines in the diet may be associated with an increased risk of certain cancers, particularly prostate and pancreatic cancer. Although more studies are needed to fully establish this link, it's important to be mindful of purine intake, especially for older adults who may already have a heightened risk of developing these conditions. So, while asparagus is a healthy vegetable packed with fiber, folate, and antioxidants, moderation is key when it comes to its consumption. For elderly individuals, especially those with a history of gout, kidney issues, or cancer, it's best to enjoy asparagus in smaller portions and as part of a balanced, varied diet. By doing so, you can still reap its nutritional benefits without putting excess strain on your body. In conclusion, asparagus can be a great addition to a senior's diet, but its purine content should be considered carefully. Limiting intake and enjoying it in moderation can help prevent potential health issues like gout, kidney stones, and even reduce the risk of cancer. And finally, number 10, zucchini. This may come as a surprise to some of you, but if eaten in large amounts, especially raw, zucchini can cause problems for elderly people. Zucchini, like other members of the squash family, contains compounds known as cucurbitacins. While these compounds are usually present in small amounts and are not typically harmful when consumed in moderation, they can cause significant digestive issues when consumed in larger quantities. Cucurbitacins can irritate the gastrointestinal system, leading to symptoms like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. For older adults who may already have more sensitive digestive systems or underlying conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, consuming raw zucchini in large amounts can be particularly problematic. This can also lead to general discomfort, bloating, or even more severe gastrointestinal distress. In extreme cases, cucurbitacins have been linked to a higher risk of cancer, particularly gastrointestinal cancers. Though these risks are relatively low and often associated with excessive or improperly prepared zucchini, it's still important for elderly individuals to be cautious about consuming it raw, especially if they're not used to eating it, or if they experience digestive problems. The good news is that cooking zucchini can help neutralize the cucurbitacins, making it much safer to eat. Heat helps break down these compounds, reducing their potential to cause harm and making the vegetable easier to digest. When zucchini is cooked, whether it's sautéed, roasted, grilled, or steamed, it not only becomes safer, but also releases a wealth of nutrients, including vitamin C, potassium, and fiber. For elderly individuals, it's best to enjoy zucchini cooked, rather than raw, to minimize the risk of digestive distress. If you have a sensitive stomach or digestive issues, it's also a good idea to start with smaller portions and monitor how your body responds. In conclusion, zucchini is a nutritious vegetable, but like many others, it's best enjoyed in moderation and cooked thoroughly. While it's safe for most people when prepared properly, raw zucchini can be a risk for elderly individuals, potentially leading to gastrointestinal issues and, in rare cases, higher cancer risks. Always cook zucchini to enjoy its health benefits while minimizing any risks. So, there you have it. The 10 vegetables that doctors advise elderly people to avoid due to potential cancer risks. But don't panic. This doesn't mean you have to eliminate these veggies entirely. Just be mindful of how much you're eating and how you're preparing them. Remember, everything in moderation. These vegetables can still be a healthy part of your diet when consumed in the right way, so don't feel like you have to give them up completely. Just pay attention to how they affect your body and be cautious if you have any underlying health concerns. If you're concerned about any of these foods or unsure about how to incorporate them into your meals safely, it's always best to consult with your doctor or a nutritionist. They can provide tailored advice to suit your specific health needs. They'll help you find a balance and guide you in making the best choices for your health. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more health tips. Stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, small changes in your diet can lead to big health benefits. So let's keep learning and making informed choices together.